safari series. Her boys should be just here to the left of us. Oh, they've followed their mum already. They're off to the right. There they go. They're following along behind. Remember, this is completely 100% live, and we are watching it using our infrared lights. We're going to have to move to follow them a little bit, but we're going to have to do it really carefully as they stalk towards the antelope. This is incredible. Look at them go.
Good evening. We find ourselves together again for the third of 5 live safaris. My name is James Henry, and I find myself quietly contemplating the dimness of the dawn, that most mystical time of the day. Where I'm sitting, it's a delicious 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're joining us for the very first time, it's marvellous to have you with us. We're coming to you from 2 majestic locations. The Masai Mara in Kenya, where it's a chillier 64 degrees or so, and the Sabi sands in South Africa, where I'm sitting now. Both of these areas are havens for this continent's inspiring wildlife. Now, we are as live as the hippo grunting and snorting behind me, and that means we'd like to hear from you as we comb the woodlands and grasslands for interesting creatures. You can tweet us using the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter, and the first thing I'd like to know from you, in just one word, is how the African sunrise makes you feel. While you think about that, you should give some serious contemplation to Safari Bingo, which could win you a once-in-a-lifetime trip for 2 to Kenya or South Africa with Nat Geo Journeys. Go along to natgeo.com/SafariLive and learn how to play. I will announce the winner at the end of Thursday night's show. That's natgeo.com/Safari Live. Now, there's some tremendous action going on in the Masai Mara. You've met Pajamas Jamie Patterson. You're now going to go 1,600 miles further to the north with Taylor McCurdy, who is sitting with lions.
There is so much action going on. We've been out all night. And you won't believe it. It's paid off, because here we sit in the Masai Mara, in infrared of course, because it's still very, very dark, with the kings of the big cats. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and again, I'm so excited to have you on episode number 3 of this live and interactive safari. So, as James and Jamie have said before, you can hashtag Safari Live if you'd like to ask us any questions, and of course that's on Twitter. I suppose these big boys need an introduction. These are just 2 members of 4 that belong to the Triangle Male Coalition. They also go by another name called the Chitwa Tembo Boys. And there they are. And you can see them panting. So I wonder what they've been doing. Well, I know what they've been doing, but you guys don't know what they've been up to. They just chased after one of the lionesses from the Olololo Pride, who I will introduce you to in a little bit. So we're standing by, waiting to see if that lioness is going to come back out of the bushes and what these Triangle Boys are going to do next. But I'm going to send you back down to South Africa, where it is a little bit warmer. It's still warming up here in the Mara, to James to see what else he's got planned.
Terribly easy to confuse Jamie and James, especially when the morning is as exciting as it is, but you are still in the Masai Mara watching the 3 cheetah. They failed their hunt almost immediately. The antelope spotted them, but Malika's young boys are now in search of something else to chase. They're hungry, they're frustrated, and they've just spotted 2 jackal who have been keeping on the outskirts, making sure that they keep their eyes on the cheetah. And this is the extraordinary thing about a live safari, is that you never know which direction it's going to take. The last 2 mornings we've spent with Malika, she has been completely flat. Now, here's the thing that we have learned, and this is in answer to Kim's question. Kim wants to know which senses the cheetah will use most frequently when hunting at night. And the answer to that is, although they are diurnal predators, or mainly diurnal predators, they do use their eyesight, so they can see in the dark at night, just like we are doing with our infrared lights. They see far better than we do. So that's probably their dominant sense, but they also rely on their hearing. So as we catch up with our cheetah moving through the darkness, which isn't all that easy to do, I hear there's a serious leopard search going on all the way back in South Africa. Let's go and find out if Noel has had any luck yet.
Thanks, Taylor. I have not had any luck yet, but I have found a herd of elephants. I'm on the search for Hukumuri, who's a big male leopard. He's an interloper into our community, and we're trying to see where he is. So exciting. And he was breathing very, 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 very deeply. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move a little bit forward and see if we can see them again. We are coming to you in infrared so that we can view them, because we don't shine a torch on an elephant. They have eyes like us. So if you think about what it's like for us to have a torch shown on, it hurts. Flashlight hurts your eyes. So they should just be here in the bushes on my right hand side, and I can just see one up ahead. It's sort of 1 o'clock, and I'm going to switch off the vehicle, and there we go, just here, 1 o'clock. Perfect. Slowly, slowly, slowly moving through the bushes. We can maybe hear them rustling and feeding. It's a good time to be looking for not only elephants like we're looking for now, but for Hukumuri. It's the pre-dawn light. It's overcast. It's a little bit cloudy. It's a little bit windy. It's good moving weather. There, you can just see just its tail moving off now. And as they get moving, they're going to start looking for marulas and marula trees. I'm going to carry on my search for Hukumuri now. And we are going to head up to one of Africa's 3 large cats with Brent. You must enjoy the trip up to Kenya, 1,006.
Welcome, welcome. It is pitch black here, and what a start to Safari Live. Lions, cheetah, and elephant already. We're with the 5 male cheetah known as the musketeers. They're still snoozing, and I'm hoping they're going to get up. Now, they have been quite nervous overnight, and we have been here overnight. We're the only people who are allowed out in the inky darkness of the Masai Mara to bring you these live pictures. Now, the reason they've been quite nervous is we are completely surrounded by lions that were fighting. We can hear them roaring and fighting all around us. As you can see, we're in infrared, and it comes across as black and white. Now, this light will change as the sun rises to the east, and we'll be able to show you the magnificent dawn over the Mara. Now, while these cheetah are lying flat here, I don't think they're going to move as I say that, heads up. Now, I think he's looking directly towards where the lions were roaring. I might leave the boys to nap and go look for those lions. Remember, this is live, so why don't you let me know whether I should stay here or go look for the roaring male lions. Hashtag Safari Live. Where should I go? Should I stay with the cheetah a bit longer, or should I go look for the roaring male lions? I'd love to hear from you. Now, as I was saying, this is 100% live. Oh, it's a cuddle cat going back to sleep. So we cannot predict what's going to happen next. We don't know. The other interesting thing is I'm not very far away from Jamie, who's with Malika, and there was another female cheetah called Miale in this area. Now, the boys always like to find some girls or girlfriends, but they are a threat to Malika's 2 boys and Miale's 1 son, who are about the same age. But those females will soon be getting rid of their offspring, chasing them off, and coming into estrus. So we might even be lucky in the next couple of days to see the boys chasing around a lady friend. Isn't that just very exciting? As I said, 100% live. We do not know what's going to happen. Oh, excuse me. Now, while we sit here and wait for your decision on whether to go look for the lions, we've got a little clip of the 5 musketeers catching an unsuspecting male coming into their territory. This is absolutely incredible. We are with 4 members of the male cheetah coalition called the Musketeers, and they've cornered a lone male called Muji. There he is. You can just see that heightened aggression. Just listen to those noises.
Right, everybody, here we find ourselves still at the Chitwa Dam. What an astounding thing you saw over there. While we contemplate the noises that those cats made, that always amazes me about big cats like cheetah. How can they be making such ridiculous noises? They sound like birds. Now, I'm just going to take my sock off and put it back on again. And while you think about why I'm taking my sock off and on, thank you very much to Molly, who said that you think the African sunrise is majestic. Someone called Tuna Cat said she was smitten by the African sunrise. And Denise, you said you thought it was glorious. Well, I think all of those things are correct. And I think if I was to go with one, Tuna Cat's description of it being smitten by the African sunrise would be the one I'd go with the most. I think that was absolutely spectacular. Now, let's just move out the way so you can have a look at these hippos. They're going to get up slowly, and eventually they're probably going to congregate around the little island that is in the middle of this dam, and they'll start playing with each other. And that's what we're hoping for over here. Now, I think while we wait for them to do that, we should go back up to the Masai Mara, to Jamie Pajamas Patterson, who is obviously in her uniform, not in her pajamas anymore, with Malika and the magnificent sons.
So while they wait, we are also sitting in the Mara waiting for the sun to rise. So at the moment we are watching this lovely cheetah in black and white, and that is because we're watching in infrared. So in a few short minutes the dawn will break and we will be able to watch them in beautiful color. So we are sitting with the lovely Malika, and since she has stopped hunting for the moment, she is however still alert and looking for something to eat. Just a reminder to send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. Oh, we're up again. For those of you who we don't get to answer your questions while live, Dr. Jan of the Wilds, the Vice President of the Wilds, will be helping us this morning. She's coming right towards us. Sorry, my hat got in the way. She's so close. You can see how comfortable these animals are with our vehicles. They move around. They've been entirely accustomed to the presence of safari vehicles in the past. So Malika is now moving off in search of her breakfast. What will she find? We'll just have to find out. Just to confirm, am I still live? Are we sure? we are still live. Mixed messages. We are still live. Okay, so now we've got to try and catch up with Malika. Where's that other boy gone? What a start to our morning safari. Oh, Malika, are you going to take us in here? Okay, we're going to quickly catch up with our cheetah and make sure that we don't lose them through this massive lugger that's coming up. So while we do that, off you pop back across to Djuma. Let's go and find out how the leopard search is going.
Thanks, Bren. Yeah, the leopard search is going, hey? So yesterday, towards the end of show, we picked up on some really great tracks of a male leopard. And we were unable to find it in sort of the last 15 minutes of show yesterday. So the trackers kept going out during the middle of the day, and they found where there was a warthog kill that had just been finished up. And we figured out it was from Hukumuri, that male interloper that's been coming through from time to time. Now this morning what I'm trying to do, and what I have been doing, is finding any tracks of him moving in and out of our traverse area. Now I haven't picked up any yet, but that doesn't mean that he's not around. And also, interestingly enough, in that little corner where we had those elephants earlier, there's also been talk of one of our other male leopards who's not territorial, little Tamba, who I believe is the offspring of Tundi. I know he's the offspring of Tundi. And then also a female leopard that I haven't heard of before. Tristan and I were talking about it this morning. A little Shadulu apparently as well also has a kill somewhere there. Now, the areas where I can venture into and where we're going are unfortunately not exactly where those two leopards are. But I'm doing my best because we do have some places for water that are just over where we can venture. And I'm hoping to pick them up. That being said, there's also a possibility that Tingana is around. Tingana has been seen on and off. Sorry, little impala. I did not mean to blind you there. We've got an impala here just in front, who I unfortunately blinded a bit. We're still in IR, which is amazing, which means we can watch him without blinding him. Beautiful snack for a leopard. But I think whilst we're busy searching, let's head back up to Taylor in the Masai Mara, who does have some cats for you. She has the largest cat that we find in Africa. So let's head on up to the Masai Mara.
Hello, internet audience. It's great to have you. Look who we've got. We've got some lions that we have not seen for a very, 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 very long time. Like, you have no idea how long. I don't know when I last saw the Olololos. That's who we're sitting with. So, I'm not going to tell you now, but I bet you can guess what they're eating. But we'll do this when we go live for TV. In 1 minute, I'll tell... Although, no, you guys would have all been watching yesterday with Ralph. So, basically what happened is after the TV show yesterday morning, I bumped into one of the rangers, and as we were chatting to him, he was getting this update on the radio about that there was pride of lions on a buffalo kill. So then I'd kindly asked Ralph to do some investigating yesterday, and he did. Again, I'm going to sit quietly now because we've got 20 seconds till TV. Chat to you soon. Welcome back to your live African safari. You've just joined me in the Masai Mara, and you may remember that we had 2 male lions chasing off a lioness. Now we've got the rest of the pride. This is the pride known as the Olololo lions. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Now, we are still in infrared. It is still too dark to switch to color, but I'm slowly starting to see a change in the sky. So hopefully in a little bit we'll be able to turn all these lights off, the infrared lights off, and then go back to seeing all the wonderful things. Isn't that amazing? Right. Very, very cool. Now, I have to tell you very quickly what happened. So we've been looking for these lions. I cannot tell you for how long now. I haven't seen them for ages. And hopefully they're going to catch another buffalo in the next few days. So that's what they've caught. That's what they're feeding on. Remember, if you are playing Safari Bingo, carcass is one of the things. Now, Kobe, you're wondering if lions normally hunt at night. Lions can actually hunt at any time of the day, Kobe. However, as you can imagine, when it's dark, you and I can't see very well, and a lion's eyesight is 6 times better than you and I can see at night. So you can imagine they have the upper hand on the things that they're hunting. So, for example, a big pride like this the Olololo Pride, 4 lionesses, and 13 cubs. That's a lot of mouths to feed. So something as large as a buffalo really only lasts them for a day. So I'm not sure when exactly they took it out. They also could have taken it down yesterday morning in the early hours of the day. This is also a very, very, very good time to hunt. Now, I'm waiting for that lioness who got chased away to come charging back in, and hopefully she'll be safe here with the rest of the pride. So we're just going to stand by with our patience pants, and I'm going to send you down to Steph, who's on a bushwalk, and he's got one of the animals that like to migrate here in July.
We definitely do have a whole herd of wildebeest for you, and isn't it just amazing that we can bring you so far south so quickly? My name is Stefan Winterboer. We are on foot in Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Kruger Park, and dawn is just about to break, and we were lucky enough to walk out onto this open area and be joined by some of these wildebeest. And as Taylor quite rightly said, they do migrate. Wildebeest are well known for the massive 1,000-mile long migration that they do in Kenya. Here they tend to migrate seasonally wherever the rain is going, and right now these wildebeest are here, which is quite nice. This is lions' favorite food. So wildebeest, kudu, zebra, that is what lions enjoy eating, and it's unusual to see lions on a buffalo kill in the Mara. We're very blessed with that buffalo kill that you're busy having a look at with Tail over there, because the lions there tend to just eat wildebeest and zebra. Here, there's not that many wildebeest. In actual fact, it's quite rare to see wildebeest like this. It's a treat for us. And the reason for that is that they are really open plains specialists, and there's not too many open plains. This is one of the unique open plains in the Kruger National Park. Heads down, eating some grass. And if you look carefully, you might even notice a few small wildebeest. They were born just before Christmas. This particular herd has been blessed with a couple of them. Now, something that is quite exciting that also moves around in the daytime are cheetah. And we're lucky enough to be able to send you all the way north. The distance between, I mentioned it yesterday, I think, the distance between New Orleans and Montreal, 1,600 miles north, to Brent, who's got some cheetah for you.
Well, we've just stopped away from the cheetah, and the most important way to find, I'm getting mixed up, I've been up for a long time. The best way to find lions is to use your ears, and they've been roaring, so I've come to the area where I think they are, and now I'm going to use a little trick, and you guys at home, try this. It works incredibly well. You would think it's absolutely ridiculous, but if you see some of the antelope with their big ears, take your hands. You do look like a bit of a fool though, but it's okay. Take your hands, cup them around your ears, and then you listen like this. And if you do that, your hearing is increased by tenfold. Now, this is where the lions were fighting. I'm just waiting for them to roar again. But remember, this is 100% live, so we don't know what's going to happen. The lions could come careering over the hill in a ball of fighting fur and fluff. Or they might be asleep, we don't know. That's what's so exciting. Remember, #SafariLive if you do have any questions for us. The sun is slowly starting to come up behind us. Maybe the golden light of the dawn will illuminate the lions for us. And you can hear some of the birds starting. The rufous-napped lark, one of the most common bird calls in the early morning in the Mara. Oh, I thought I heard something. Murphy's Law, the lions go quiet. But don't worry, I'm not going to give up. I am going to find them. In the meantime, let me send you back to Taylor, who's already got lions.
We do, and they're devouring the buffalo carcass up here live in the Masai Mara. Again, bingo, there is a word that you're looking for, and it's carcass. and they're just eating the last of it. Now, something that could be quite exciting with the carcass being almost finished and all the very hungry lions is we might hear some scrapping over the remains. Those very hungry cubs, although they should have big bulging bellies, are quite cheeky at this stage. You might even be able to hear all the birds just starting to chirp. We are on a forested belt, so we're going to hear some great sounds coming from the thickets, and hopefully also some lions roaring. Now, Blackjack Malone, you've asked how often do lions eat? Well, unfortunately with lions is that they're opportunistic feeders, and they're not the greatest hunters out there, even though they work as a team. They live in prides. So I don't know when these lions had a meal before this buffalo. It's very tough out here at the moment. The wildebeest are no longer around. The big herds of zebra, a couple of them starting to come back, but there are very few animals out here, which makes it exceptionally difficult for this pride of lions to sort of hunt. They've mainly been hunting warthog, but you can imagine a warthog doesn't go very far when you have, let alone, got 13 hungry cubs, never mind the 3 big male lions that are here and the 4 lionesses who probably need the meal most, because some of those young cubs are also suckling still, even though they are feeding on flesh too. So if a lion can get a meal every couple of days, that would be great. Something like a buffalo, they'd probably need to sustain this pride every 3 or 4 days or so, a big buffalo. And if they're hunting warthog, they're going to have to hunt every single day, which is a huge problem. So, like I said, these lions have been MIA. We haven't been able to find them for such a long time. We're so lucky to be sitting with them after many days of searching. Now, of course, you've got the lions up here in the Mara with us, one of my favorite prides. We've put together a little something just to show you the differences between the lions of the Mara and the lions of the Kruger.
Across Africa, lions nurture their young in the wild. Dens provide protection for newborns and a safe place to learn essential life lessons. But to survive, lions need to hunt. In the Masai Mara, the prides comb the abundant grasslands for prey, using termite mounds for vantage. In the Sabi sands, lions prowl the South African woodlands using trees and bushes for cover. The different habitats of the Mara and the Sabi sands mean contrasting hunting strategies. The Mara lions move, invisible through the long grass, before exploding from cover to chase down the weak and the young. In the Sabi sands, buffalo are strong and dangerous. Hunting juveniles is less risky. In both Sabi sands and the Mara, lions survive by combining power and courage.
Right, welcome back live, everybody. We have moved out of infrared and into colour on account of the fact that we have some decent ambient light, albeit behind a very thick blanket of cloud. Now, Taylor was mentioning the migration there of the Masai Maras and 1.5 million wildebeest or so. Here, the most numerous antelope is obviously the impala. I think we're looking at a herd here of about 1,000 of them. They're still streaming in from the north, It really is quite astounding, and they are water dependent, which means that's why they're around Chitwa waterhole here. Everything likes to eat them, from the leopards that we're trying to search for, and if those cheetah that you've been looking at in the Mara could come down here, they'd be feasting on impala. They're just the right size for all the sort of small and large predators. So the Nkuhuma pride, which has spent so much, or with whom we have spent so much time, devours these things by the evening. What an amazing sight that is. Look at them all. And they will all be extremely relieved to have made it through a very difficult night of darkness. Look at them running. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, let's head back up to the Masai Mara now, where Taylor McCurdy, who herself, I think, is one of the most leonine people I've ever seen in my life, is sitting with lions.
We're surrounded by lions at the moment. It is honestly incredible out here. Now, those two male lions that chased off that female have made their way back towards the carcass, and I can't wait to see what happens when that lone lioness behind us comes creeping on back, because these boys are waiting for her. I don't know why they're so unhappy with her. They've been fighting since yesterday afternoon. And these youngsters also have to be very careful now, coming to the carcass to feed on the remains. Like I said, there's going to be so much tension. Those youngsters are cheeky. They haven't quite learned the rules of life just yet, and how important it is. If you're bigger and stronger, you rule the roost. Now, Michelle, you're wondering if the lions normally let the cubs eat first. It depends. It really does depend. Some days the males are a lot more tolerant than others. They're kind of like us. They have good days. They have bad days too. Now, when those cubs are really, really young, again, they don't understand the dynamics of feeding at a carcass, and they kind of just jump on in and start feeding where they can, but are often reprimanded by the big males. And those boys are huge. One swat of a paw could easily kill a lion cub. So they need to be careful. Now that these cubs are getting older, the females and the big males will be a lot less tolerant of those youngsters. Now, that's not the sun rising in the top left-hand corner. That is, in fact, a hot air balloon getting ready to take to the air to float across the Mara Plains. How exciting. Who knows? Maybe they'll even float straight over the top of our head if the wind takes them in that direction. We're most certainly not going to go anywhere. We're going to stick with the Olololo pride and the triangle males. Tristan is on the search for cats of his own, and I hope he manages to find Thandi.
Well, good morning everybody. As Taylor mentioned, my name is Tristan Dix, and we are indeed on the search for leopards. But on our search for leopards, we've just bumped into a few elephants that have just come bursting out of the bush, running across the road, and they look like they're a little uneasy. You can see the way that their ears are flared, their heads raised. It seems as though there might be something afoot, and the reason why they might be like that is because we've been sitting and we were looking around to try and find Thandi and Cub, our female leopard that we saw yesterday. And we haven't found where she was last night. She's left the area where she was last night, but we did find male leopard tracks, and we heard lots of impalas alarm calling just now. So that might have upset these ellies a little bit, and that's why the ellies are moving quite fast out of this area. We're still trying to see if we can find where those impalas are that we're shouting and causing a little bit of chaos, because they will indicate where the movement of this particular predator could be and what predator it is. We know we've got male leopard tracks, but it could also be something else that's moving it around. It could even be Thandi herself trying to move her cub away if this is the intruding male that has arrived into this area. So it's all really quite interesting, and so we're going to try and see if we can find out what's going on. Now, I alluded to the fact that yesterday we saw a Thandi and cub, and we checked where they were, and they're not there this morning. But let's take a look at this very special moment that we had yesterday morning with her and that little cuteness. It is cuteness overload at the moment, and it is constant playtime when Mom is around. Mom's ears get pulled, her whiskers, her face gets bitten.
And the little one is on its back and it's clawing at mom, and they jumping up and down. There you go, look at that. See how it's attacking mom? It's an incredibly special thing to follow a leopard cub, but this particular one has got such a soft spot in all of our hearts.
Now, if there is anything cuter than a leopard or lion cub, like the little one you've just seen now, I suspect you're looking at it. It is a baby hippopotamus. Isn't that just delightful? Now, what this little thing is doing, born probably just 4 or 5 months ago, is eating elephant dung. Now, that's not everyone's choice of breakfast, but it does line the hippo's gut with valuable bacteria so that it can carry on eating grass. There you can see mum just in front of those nests. Now, those nests are an interesting colour, wouldn't you say? They look a little bit like straw. Huh? Straw? Get it? They look a little straw-coloured. Garrett, you're wondering how well hippos see. They see very well. They are largely nocturnal. Sorry, Jared. They are largely nocturnal, which means they see very well. Otherwise, they'd bump into things in the night and be eaten by... He's got a little fright from the bird there. Otherwise, they'd get frights like that one just did in the night, and they would be... Well, they'd struggle to defend themselves against predators. Just quickly, those lines that you can see on the top of the screen are in fact to deter elephants from walking into Chitwa camp. That's where we are sitting in front of here at the Chitwa Dam. Oh, it is just too delightful. Now, there's mum watching very carefully that the little one behaves itself. Now, apparently, Scott Dyson, who is normally strolling around the wilderness on his substantially shapely legs, has in fact given up on athletics today and is driving.
We are driving because we've got an incredible update, and that is that the leopard that we are following has probably been seen by some impala, or even a giraffe was in that same area. There's another vehicle there, and they can just see these impala and giraffes staring into the bush, and we've got a strong feeling that it is Tundi and her cub. So we're going to be there shortly, and I cannot wait to get off on foot because I've got a strong feeling we're actually going to find her shortly.
Just go for it. Are we back with me? You back with me? Yeah, put it up. Hello, everybody. Very dark start today, I feel. I feel the weather is not, in fact, playing ball at all. It did all right yesterday, but the first and third instalments of our 5-day safari have been rather difficult from a weather point of view. We're now going to send the drone up into the air, as you were, Sebastian. There it goes. We've just got enough light. That's Marvin finally going to work after a dawn of indolence, not doing very much at all. You can hear he's quite a noisy fellow. And there you can see his picture of that massive herd of impala walking across the dam wall. Isn't that amazing? I think there must have been 1,000 animals in this little herd of impala. Why Hosanna isn't here trying to eat one of them, I don't really know. I'd like to find out. Why the wild dogs aren't here trying to eat more than one of them, I don't really know. They're all the hippos. There we are. Now, this Chitwa Dam really has been a lifesaver for us. We've spent a lot of time here looking at these hippos. We're starting to know them individually. That's not really true. I think we've got about 3 minutes before before we go back to the television. There, the impala, herring about the place, doing their morning exercises. Some of them down to the left, of course, of the dam wall, where we'd hoped to find Hosanna, but clearly he's not there. They are wandering about without a care in the world and not snorting very loudly. How many advert breaks have we had so far? 2 or 3? 2. Good golly, 2 already. Where was Scott driving? I'd love to know. Why was he driving? Anybody know? He can hear alarm calls. Excellent. Just pictures there. Now you're going to just stay with us, everybody, for the next 2 minutes, and then you'll go back to Scott to find out what the outcome of his alarm calls are. And you can just see the extent of the dryness there. It really is a bit depressing. And the weather report said there's quite a lot of rain at the end of the week, but every day we get closer to that rain, the further it moves away. And now the weather report says no, probably no rain at all, which is really quite astounding. That's Chitwa Lodge, airplane hangar. We'll drive around there as we go live again and see what else we can find. You can turn up the game drive radio and make sure nothing's happening. All right, Scott is back on his feet. Let's go back to him, find out if he's had any luck.
We can see, we had a glimpse of the giraffe. It was looking down into this riverbed area, and we also heard some Franklin's alarm calling, so feeling confident that this leopard is here somewhere. But we need to try and not get too excited, because we don't want to come across her too quickly, so we almost need to just take a deep breath and slow it down a bit. But we couldn't have asked for a better sign. Let's see if we can get that. Welcome back live to the Kruger National Park. We have got into the area where the giraffe and impala were alarm calling and looking down into this direction, and we're feeling very, very confident that we're going to be able to find this leopard or whatever it is that they've seen. We're guessing that it is Tundi and her cub, and on top of those alarm calls from the impala and the giraffe, we've just heard some Franklin erupt out of the bushes. Franklin, our small bird, and we are guessing that they have seen the leopard and flown off, and that has given us another wonderful, wonderful clue with regards to where this leopard could be. Now, as you'll notice, it is quite thick in here, so as exciting as it is, and as much as I want to run off into these bushes to try and find you this leopard, we do need to move slowly and cautiously, because a mother leopard and her cub can be dangerous. So we just need to almost take a deep breath and just make sure we don't get ourselves into any trouble here. Now, I'm going to keep creeping through this bush. If you did have any plans to go anywhere, I would strongly suggest you change them, because this leopard is nearby. And while we continue our search, we're going to show you another little interesting moment that we've shared with some of the leopards of this area.
Along the Kruger border in Djuma, one male leopard reigns supreme, Tingana. He has been the master of his domain for years and has sired many cubs in his territory. Among them, two sons, Hosanna and Tamba. Hosanna is now 2 years old and beginning to test his strength in his father's house. Tamba, 20 months old, keeps a lower profile than his precocious half-brother. But the old man is not about to retire. In fact, he finds the presence of his sons, even when they just want company, very irritating. There is little brotherly love either. Tamba, for now, is smaller than Hosanna and must submit or face injury. For male leopards, young and old, the fight for dominance is never ending.
Well, welcome back live. You can see that we are with some elephants, but wasn't that just the most amazing thing to see? We have such an interesting sort of mix of leopards at the moment, and the way that the males are interacting is certainly causing a lot of interest, and it is a very, very delicate situation, particularly for our female Tundi and the cub. Because of so many males around, there is a lot going on, and she's got to be very careful about how she goes about things. But these Ellies, we were busy looking for that leopard. We're in the same area as Scott, and Scott is in the block on foot coming towards where we are. So we came here to stop and to listen, to try and see if there was any sounds or any more alarm calls. And while we did that, we had this herd of Ellies that came running down to the water. And well, it's not a very hot morning, but you can see that Ellies love water, and so they get in here, and it's almost like they get a smile on their face when they start drinking. You can see they kind of put their trunks in, and then they'll suck up trunkfuls of water and then squirt it into their mouth. So those are thoroughly happy elephants. And so while we enjoy our Ellies having a little drink, I believe my good friend Steve is all the way in the Masai Mara and is not on the ground but in the air, flying about, and he's got a beautiful view of some tawny-coloured cats. And welcome to the Skyship's balloon. My name is Steve Falconbridge, and I've got Archie on camera, and as Taylor predicted, she was hoping for the balloon to fly right overhead, and I think that is exactly what we have done. There we can see a male lion on its way back towards possibly where she is parked. It's hard for me to say right now, but isn't that marvellous to see a cat from the air? Big male lion, he's got quite a full belly. Don't know what he's looking for. Maybe he's thirsty and looking for something to quench his thirst after eating what possibly was a large amount of buffalo meat. This is coming to 100% live from the air, folks. We have no control over the direction of this balloon, completely at the mercy of the wind. The male lion is having a little bit of a sniff. He might scent mark. Jessica asks a very good question. How big is a lion's territory? And in the Masai Mara, they are relatively big. The females will have territories. Oh, there's some cars in the background. The females will actually have the territories, and the males will look after the females. So the males can have 2 to 3 prides, and it really depends on the prey resource. And up in the Mara, I'm trying to think of the facts. I'm sure Taylor knows the size of the territories down here, but I know in the Sabi sands in South Africa, they would be a little bit smaller. But as our balloon flies over, we're going to go straight back onto the ground to Miss McCurdy, who is with the cats at ground level.
How incredible is it to see that big male from the sky? And the fact that you could see he has a big belly means he must have been devouring on that carcass at some point. However, what you can see perched up upon that tree is a pair of vultures. Now, I can't see exactly which vultures it is, but safari bird. Bingo! Well, that should get you a little bit excited. Now, they obviously arrived yesterday and decided to roost up in that tree, looking down upon the lions, where they've been feasting on the buffalo. But there isn't much left. And you can see a lot of the pride now are just resting up, grooming themselves, cleaning themselves after being covered in, well, blood, feces, and all sorts of other, well, things that we might find revolting, but that are delicious to a lion. Now, Madeline, you're wondering how old are lion cubs before they start roaring? Well, let's go back a little bit. Lions are able to communicate with their mothers from the day that they're born. Of course, they're not going to be bellowing out big roars. They'll just be letting out little, well, meow sounds. I don't think I sound very much like a lion, to try and communicate with mom. And as they start to get older, normally from just over a year, you start to really see them, or not see them, hear them roaring at times. But it is incredible when the entire pride, and especially a pride of this size, it's one of the larger prides in the Masai Mara, to hear them all calling at the same time is honestly the most incredible experience, because you don't just hear it, you feel it. Your vehicle will vibrate. And I'm hoping that today these lions are going to present us with a beautiful communal roar. Wouldn't that be incredible? Just to let all the other lions know in the area that this territory is taken. There we go. Mom just grooming one of the youngsters. Right, off you go down to South Africa, 1,600 miles away to the northeastern corner of the country, where Noel has got my favorite animal.
I have the teeniest, tiniest little baby elephant with its mum. This elephant is probably about a week old, and it has trouble walking. It has trouble moving too much. It needs to lean on mum often, and it also is extremely cheeky. Elephants are pregnant for 22 months, and then they nurse for 24 months, sometimes up to 3 years. And when they're little like this, they have a it's chasing a bird. And now pushing on the tree they have. I'm sorry. They're my favorite. Baby, teeny tiny baby elephants like this are hysterical. They're the comics of the bush. Now, don't forget we have Dr. Jan, the president of the Wilds, who's busy helping us with tweets today. So if we don't get a chance to answer your questions live on the show, hashtag Safari Live. That's hashtag Safari Live. Dr. Jan is going to help out. But we love to interact with you, so please send through those questions and comments. Now, this elephant, this mother elephant, is busy moving around and eating grass that is nice and fresh and green from little bits of rain we've been having. Ferguson, excellent question. You'd like to know, how do elephants communicate? Ferguson, they do a few things. They do communications at levels we can hear via trumpets, and they do a tummy rumble type noise, which is actually air pushing over the larynx and towards the top of the throat there. Then they also use infrasound or subsonic vibrations through their feet that can travel up to 60 kilometers, 60 kilometers, and that's at a level that we can't really hear, and they communicate that way as well. So these two could be communicating with each other and we would never know it. Now, there's also a bit of screaming that goes on, especially with the smaller baby elephants, and when they want to nurse and mum doesn't want to let them, or if they get beaten up by older elephants. Now, we have a wonderful little Safari Live magic moment that we've put together for you that has James Hendry narrating. So I think let's head on over to that so you can catch up with us on our history of Safari Live.
And these guys are just having the best time. They got out of the water, they've come back into the water. They're having a good old wrestle, splashing each other. They're almost exactly the same size. It's now kicking weavers' nests. Spotted another one. There we go. Stomped on it. But doesn't want to get too far away from the water. Working themselves into an absolute frenzy. They're going to be so tired later. Into the water again. Let's get out. Okay, now let's just go for one more swim. It's just like they're on holiday here. All the while the weavers get on with their lives, watching what we're watching, thinking, good grief, what a bunch of idiots these guys are. If there's one thing that an elephant enjoys as much as swimming, it's eating marula fruits. Welcome back live. We're sitting with a bull, a little bit older than the ones you were looking at having a swim there. I'd put him at about 5 years older than that. And he's having the most delicious breakfast, as I've mentioned to you, over the course of the last 2 days or so. They are coming to these areas in the Sabi sands for the marula fruits, which tend to fruit here around February. In other parts of the world, or other parts of the country, often they fruit in December. But here in the Sabi sands, February seems to be the time, and so you can almost guarantee wonderful elephant sightings here in February. And people often ask us, what animal would you be if you could be? And I always think of an elephant, because while there are lots of very attractive antelope, I'm waving at you now, and that sort of thing, and many different kinds of birds and that sort of stuff, I think an elephant is the most desirable creature to be, because of course none of those lions and cheetahs and leopards are ever going to give you any hassle at all. Once you get to this side, you live a life of peace, unless of course you want to fight over ladies, in which case you will be in trouble. So I think we're going to sit with this elephant for a little while. I'm going to try and get a view of him with Ronald the rover. And while we do that, I believe that the rather indolent musketeer brothers are finally on the move.
Well, the 5 boys are on the move. The lions disappeared, headed in the direction of Jamie, so Malika better watch out. But now the 5 boys are moving in the opposite direction, but towards where there was another female cheetah, Miale. Here they are scent marking. Now, this is how they proclaim their territory. It's sort of like a smelly signpost for all other cheetahs that'll tell them that this is the musketeers' territory. I was hoping they're going to drink right next to us. There's a little puddle here. It rained quite a bit last night. Remember, this is 100% live, coming to you from the Masai Mara. We're with the largest coalition of male cheetah ever recorded. Now, I'm just going to keep quiet so you can hear the frogs as well. Listen to those little frogs. Aren't these just the most incredibly beautiful cats? It looks like they're going to come right next to our vehicle. Look at that. Isn't that just too amazing? They were right next to us, 100% live from Africa. I'm so happy. After 2 snoozy mornings, they've decided to be a bit more active. I think they're on the hunt, and there's definite potential. Topi and Thompson's gazelle and impala in the direction that they are heading. Look at this guy coming right here. Look at him. That's how close they are. That's how relaxed they are around the vehicles. Good morning, Brenda. Brenda would like to know, do cheetah eat carrion? Brenda, they are one of the few animals that don't eat carrion. Lions and leopards and hyenas will, but cheetah like it fresh, and they will generally only eat fresh meat. Now, that's also a subject of the fact that they're not scavengers. They're not big enough, they're not strong enough to scavenge. So generally what they do eat is fresh. However, if they were in a very tight spot with an injury or whatnot, there's always a possibility that they will eat carrion. They will do anything to survive. All animals out here, it is incredible the resilience they have to wounds and injuries that we would think were life-ending, how they can recover from that. Now, while the cheetah move off down the road, I'm going to jump up ahead of them to make sure that there's to see what prey is in front of them. Now, of course, we're lucky enough to have multiple cheetah sightings this morning, and about 3 or 4 kilometers from me, Jamie is there with Malika, but there were lions heading in her direction.
So, Malika has changed direction, leading her 2 boys straight towards Brent.